right, let's do this. Meditation test pilot. What do you want to call it? You're in the creative process right now. So select your music. We want to hear Ginger. We want to hear Ginger. Ginger is my favorite. Well, although we went to see Greta Van Fleet in Colorado, it was so fucking amazing, right? It was sensational, and Audra and I had a really good time. All right, let's get some Ginger in here. And as far as background music,
I am confident. I know my stuff.
YouTube up in here. All right, so it'll be on YouTube.
Let's do this.
So as you are in the experience, so we're talking about from a metaphysical standpoint, you are in your creative space. All right. So I think the first thing that we discover is the environment. The environment is important from the standpoint it could be chaotic, but at the same time you have to create harmony within that. All right. And that's why we picked the song Ginger. It is so fucking, oh, heaven. All right, so we got the environment, calmness within the chaos. All right, your ability to control your circumstances. Nothing is affecting you to the detriment of your being, right? The only thing that it really allows you to do is to check your ability to maintain your emotional homeostasis, right? It is all about the homeostasis, homie, right? So you got to keep it calm, right? But then there's that confidence that develops, that you got this. You got to trust in God. You got to trust in God, man. That's kind of like all as the tempo drops. That's all I'll say about that. But you got to attach, right? And this is where the value of meditation comes in, right? So now if you're in your zone, don't forget where you came from, right? So remember that your earnest prayer, your meditations, your pleadings, like all these things that you ask for from deity. And now that you get them, you have to maintain them. But you're maintaining them from the standpoint of being more loving. Okay, it's all about loving people and situations and circumstances, because this is your life. How could we expect to exist if we damn the very being of who we are, right? Like our very existence, if we damn it, wow, we're just like really powerful. So it's better to love it. All right, so love the space you're in. You're in control of it. Meditation leads to appreciation, and that equals gratitude, right? Gratitude's the easiest thing to have. Let me thank you for the air, for the moon, for shit, for anything, right? For this sip of water. Thank you for everything that I am. And so as you do that, you are granted the ability to help more, right? So I think it's about, at the end of the day, how may I be of service? At least that's what I'm finding. You know, obviously the whole theory is never complete, because once we leave this shell of a body, you know, it's on to another experience in another format. So, I mean, as far as I can tell, it's about being kind, no matter how much you've been shit on, right? Like, no matter how much they've hurt you or broken you or tried to rape your body out of your fucking skull, right? Like, no matter how horrible it is, and it's horrible for everyone, you can't give up. You have to stay in a space of finding gratitude. Um, it's a lot of different things for people, right? But there's no judgment, so you can't really put a label on it. And it's so hard because we've been so conditioned to identify ourselves by the use of label that we can only associate with other people based on the labels that we either project on them or perceive them to have or convey. So you don't want to label it, but you realize that life is a wonderful thing, and it's meant to be blessed no matter how it looks. But how it looks is very sinister at times. And that's when I feel that we are the most lost as a society. So, anyway, off the preaching kick. So, the creative space, the environment, the trust, right? The gratitude and everything, every living thing, right? Not to minimize your pain, but you gotta let it go. And then I believe that older people have it right in developing a hobby or a passion, right? Like the older people who love trains, right? Who go to Ryder's Hobby Shop and spend days and hours building these train sets. You know, I admire those people. I admire them. It's dedication, but it's something for a person that's really creative and maybe has ADHD or whatever other label, right? You find fascinating, stimulating, right? But at the same time, harmonious and just an amazing, amazing thing. So when we develop a hobby, it allows us to transcend so many of the mundane vibrations, right? That are just so commonplace on this planet, right? Like they can tell you how many impressions you get of whatever per second. So you know that we're being hit with a vibration that is just really um, peculiar. And so you have to learn to move slower in this world. This is why meditation is important. And meditation is not about color, gender, isms, schisms, scasms, none of that. Meditation deals with vibration. So point blank. And I have to make that correlation to a recent trip to Colorado. Shout out to freaking Colorado, man. Oh my God, you guys are killing it. Killing it. Civility, humanity, love, respect, progression, technology, cohesion, interfacing, advanced euphoria. Insane. And we saw Greta Van Fleet there, right? It was like the best concert ever. Audra was tripping out. She was like, who does a 25-minute encore? I'm like, oh my God, I didn't even think of that, right? You're just rocking. And I don't know, man. I do not know what Greta Van Fleet is into except pure genius. Their drummer has a presence of, especially at this show here at Red Rock, right? Because it's all tribal and it's all historic and it's all like where the garden of the gods were, right? And if you look close enough, man, you can see different designs and like different gates where there's like a woolly mammoth and there's different face structures and pillars, right? That you could see you go through, right? And I always wonder if a human could make a building, could we not also make a mountain-like structure, right? So a lot of these things that we consider rocks or mountains could be kingdoms and governments from long times ago, right? If you're a builder, if you're a mason, if you're someone that's good with your hands and your mind, you can create things in such a way that magnify and glorify God or the human experience forever. So, getting a hobby is the topic if you're just joining in, right? So you're in the creative space and things are good. You got trust, you've got gratitude for everything. And so now you're like, how do you maintain it? So the hobby, join a club, right? Go talk to some Masons for some ideas about other good community groups that are out there. I mean, you can't, a Mason, you know, you have to ask to be a Mason. So that's on you. But talk to those brothers about the surrounding community because they have most likely been there before the town was fully developed, so get the insight. So hobbies have so many benefits. You're around so many wise people, and it's just amazing what you learn in this experience, but it has to be done from the standpoint of love, right? Love gives you the opportunity to be the recipient of the things you need that will give you healing and create joy and allow you to have satisfaction in your human experience. But the more challenging we allow it to become in terms of our ability to express love or allow love or display love or believe in love, our realities can be pretty harsh. So, you know, get a hobby. I can't stress that enough, right? Community work, volunteering, right? Like anything you can do to stay in contact with people, to keep your sense of compassion, right? Because you're not the only one. As much as your story hurts, you're not the only one. So, therefore, you have to give in to feeling other people's pain, right? Experiencing it, right? Get out there, embrace it. We are conductors of energy and we absorb, right? And people talk about, oh, I'm picking up all these negative energies. Okay, yes, you are. But the goal is to be able to say, I am such a being of love and light, right? Of love and light that I can absorb anything negative and transmute that upon which the divine supreme being wants it to be. But that takes skill. So meditation is there to fill us up, to get us charged, to get us connected to our source, and then out to wherever it goes. We're connected, and then we start to act accordingly. But it's for our benefit. So being able to stay connected and get that hobby, right, allows you to enjoy this life. So I guess that's a little bit of what the program will be about. It will be informative. We'll talk about things. It may look like it's one sided, but it's not. I'm really hoping that the content will be interactive enough and the positioning or whatever, whatever we got will be enough to keep you intrigued to have something to talk about, to share, right? Because it's all about us and, realizing that we are in each other's lives and space and frequency for a moment, right? Then we better make the best fucking moment that we have to love each other before it's too late. I am a strong proponent on that. So if you ever want to talk, if you ever need anything, call me, right? Let's talk about it. A part of me feels that, and I have to digress a little bit, but I do have to admit my, um, you have to choose the right words. Let me think about this. It's not that I want to be perfect. It's not that I don't want to admit that there is something that is in my space that I take issue with. I take issue with this, of which I'm about to recite to you. And I take issue with the fact that Ginger. I take issue with the fact that I all the power is within you, right? And so it's hard. A friend of mine, right? A newly acquired friend of mine, which I'm so happy to say. Woo, woo, woo. I will not mention the name, okay? Because it is so not important, but the message is. And the message was that if you took a certain action, that could be or would be, in this person's particular case, the demise of their spiritual evolution, if it were. It would automatically transform with that one thought, as quick as man fell from sin, so to speak, instantaneously, right? Did it happen at birth or did it happen in ingestion or an actual interaction, right? What came first, the thoughts or the action? So, um, I don't know what type of things on this, as I do this, that I would promote other than like your mind, right? Your free thinking for the content, right? But once you're connected to the supreme being and deity, but all along the way, you're never alone anyway. So the quicker you can, like Stephen Covey said in the book, The Speed of Trust, the quicker you can trust this process, the quicker you're able to experience and realize that you are in the director's seat of your life. Pretty heavy, right? But you get there. And when you get there, you realize that you really don't want to hurt anyone else for several reasons. We're we're becoming more heightened in our ability to detect vibrations within people. And it's important that vibrationally we as a society mesh, right? If in a world where people must be responsible for themselves, it's important that we all understand how to um, control ourselves, right? It should be self-directed, right? Square up, right? So, um, I really want to promote the power that people have to enjoy this journey, right? Enjoy this journey, but try not to feel hopeless along the way, right? You can't go kicking and screaming, right? You got to enjoy this. You got to enjoy people, man. Make them feel good. Make them feel loved, right? Like the vibrations on this planet are so fast. It's like in that movie, The Doors, which was phenomenal. I love that. Raymond Zarek and Jim are walking on the beach, and he's like, people don't know whether to fight or fuck, right? Like that now? Or has it always been like that since the first, right? So here we are. So do you fight? Do you fuck? What do you do? I think the thing is to realize that no matter what you do, it could be right, depending on the type of person that you are, right? And the type of person that you should be is one that believes in self, right? Believe in yourself, everything that you are, everything like that you look like, like fuck that, fuck that. Pardon my French, Julie Dupé. I feel that spending so much time with body dysmorphia and what it looks like and being angered, right, at the thought of human contact, right? Like, I did not want anyone touching me at a point in my life. It makes it very hard to be a being of love, but with suspicion, right? We're all beings of love, but as a physical expression of love, we have this sticky substance all over us that attracts shit on us, right? So I'm a being of love, but I could be a being of love with hatred in my heart. I could be a being of love with anger or fear or depression, right? But the goal is to become a being of love and light. Light is what provides us the wisdom to see how to treat our lives, our people, our world, our thoughts, our worlds with the highest vibration, which is always going to change as we transform in our molecular structures, because after we die, we continue into another form of energy. How that assimilates or processes, who knows, right? But in terms of what we are now, we must accept this form that we're in. If you want to injure yourself or cut yourself, that will just be the form that you're in. You're still beautiful, right? You're still awesome, right? Deep down inside of the emotional, right, spiral that you're in, right? It can be really bad, but don't forget you have the ability to unlock your mind and think positive and positive and positive about yourself. Find it. The gratitude starts there. I love my feet. I love my junk, right? I love everything about me, right? Because this is who I am. This is the energy form. This is the energy mass that has been accumulated to allow me to fulfill my divine plan on this earth. As my purpose changes, so its form and shape may change. As I develop, may my form and shape develop. But in all ways, I realize that I am good enough. I am perfect for the role and the part in which I must play. And as I'm aware of this, I ask that your love and your energy and your positivity flow through me to treat all as you have done to me. So once you are able to realize, man, you know, there ain't nothing better than loving somebody, especially yourself, if you can just click it. If you just click it, it's so good. It's so good. So, again, I guess the point was we'll talk about books and shit and thoughts and conversations on all this stuff, but we um, will not necessarily talk about things that you can buy or things for sale, right? Like, I really want this to stay about using our own energy, right? Using what comes from us. So we will have a lot of fucking meditation breaks, right? That's the type of shit we're gonna do. We're not gonna be talking about, well, we'll go and buy this or anything for 1995 or whatever, because if you do, that's something that you have to be responsible for, because that's your soul and your aspect of source saying, listen, you need to add this to your repertoire. I will help you financially get it. But that's not my role to be that type of facilitator. At least that's not how I see it, right? Um, there's several ways to look at something, but while you're in your creative space, just to kind of look back when we're talking about the creative space, when you're in the creative space, you have to be open to simultaneously cataloging, remembering, and thinking in the future in terms of how it all makes sense. And so I think many of us don't realize that the traumatic experiences that we've suffered actually facilitates that. And in a twisted sort of way, um, I feel that if I had not experienced certain things, I would have more fear and apprehension to love. But I realized, based on the heartache and the tragedy that I've experienced, I have no choice but to love. Because someone who would feel less than love would be really, heartbroken. And there's no time for that either. Then, you gotta keep it going. All right. So, um, all right. So you got to get your mind right and all that shit. So we'll be meditating, and I think meditation can go in a variety of ways. First and foremost is what the hell you feel you need to do to relax your body, even if it's incrementally, right? Like, shit, man. All right, I need to go sit on the toilet for an hour because that's what I need. Okay, then do that, right? Like, the type of conversation that we need to have is one that is so open and so intrinsic, right? Like, it's like, but at the same time, very difficult because you have to make decisions like every second. Everything is on you, right? So that can be tedious. And a lot of people um, have a difficult time with that. And I, for one, have a real difficult time with it. And it causes me to act out um, with sexual thoughts of being dominated, right? Because I feel that the responsibility of self is so important, and it's something that you have to monitor in this country, in this world. I think all over the world is the same in terms of the struggle emotionally that people go through. And so I don't think we should separate ourselves believing that just because this guy's in another part of the world, vibrationally he's not feeling the same thing and still has the same confusion and the perplexed and bewilderment that we all have, right? So we can allow the reality of what life is in terms of a harmonious vibration be convoluted by our thoughts of things separating us, because the only things that separate us are the things that were made by man or made up by man. Vibrations, colorless, odorless, whatever, right? Vibrations harmonious. So we all have that vibration. So they say music calms the savage beast. They didn't say the savage beast of whatever, right? It don't matter. Music, that vibration of music heals all things, soothes all beings. So, there's so many things that we can talk about that I feel the conversation will help heal, right? The communication in a way that is self-directed, interactive, hopefully, right? Like, hopefully you're not fucking brain dead over there and shit. You know what I mean? Like, write some fucking things down. Get a piece of paper, right? Like, write some shit because you got some shit inside of you. You got some shit inside of you, motherfucker. So, write your shit, right? Keep a notepad. Your thoughts are just as important as the big wig over at Procter and Gamble. Maybe for the time being, this individual's thoughts become manifested quicker because of this role and responsibility that this individual has. And you're just starting, you're developing trust, right? Stephen Covey, right? The speed of trust. It's so beneficial, right? The speed of trust. The sooner you can get in and trust, you can make a contribution as much as the CEO for this other company is doing. Because no matter what a person may think or what they try to do in terms of dividing or what we try to do to ourselves, I believe now at this point, we try to tell ourselves this is the reason why this person has an advantage or this person does this or whatever. And we'll make up things, we'll believe things, right? We'll run with things, and none of it is true. Our vibration is what separates us. If our vibrations are broken, then we are broken. Mm. So I think it's an old Polish saying about the sneezing after you're saying something. Mm. I don't know. But um, I don't know where I went on that. So anyway, our vibration. Got to keep the vibration going. And so, again, there's a ton of things to talk about. So, believe in yourself. And I think I want to end with this right here. All right. This is what I want to end with. Well, we got Ginger in the background. Ooh, 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 ooh. What you gonna bring to the table? What you gonna bring to the table? Is that it? I think this is pretty good too. Okay, here we go. So, um, I think it's going to be important to have an affirmation, and we're going to talk about things that allow us to peel off the layers, right? Like rip this off, right? If you want to, right? This is all self-directed, right? So if you want to, check it out and just let's try this together. But we're going to need to develop something positive for ourselves, right? Because everything starts from within. So, how we perceive ourselves, if we love our bodies, if we love our minds, if we love our experiences, we will grow. And it's not so much about others, not because others will once we do. All right? Others will once we do. LeBron James, you cannot try to get that for what do you try to do with Taco Tuesday? Trademark that shit. All right. So anyway, so we need a mantra or something that puts us in perspective. So I'm going to read this. This is for me. If you like it, use it, modify it, tweak it, or hopefully write your own. All right. So here we go. Having my present body has served me well, especially as I took very limited responsibility for myself, my physical appearance, and my emotional health. Today, I commit to a new chapter, a defining moment of personal fulfillment, responsibility, and over the top abundance. All that of joy, mercy, understanding, excitement, passion, love, friendship, forgiveness, teamwork, and financial prosperity be unto me. Amen. So, this is what I want to be able to start every transmission with, or at least end with, or something, right? Just to reinforce the time that we all should take to develop a belief system, right? And this is something that we are needing to, in this moment, develop within ourselves in comparison with understanding the beauty of the ancient religions and the different dialects and the ways to worship and the perspectives in which these different cultures seen the supreme being. I believe there are parts to the greatness of deity, and we owe it to accept all men to come to a sensibility and not even a really clear understanding, but something that's just going to give us enjoyment, understanding that the greatness and the bliss and the peace and the love that we can give to others and that which comes back is greater than we ever anticipated. How would you not want to live forever with that in view? And we have this power over ourselves in which we can damn our body and cause it grief, or we can speak life into it. So if you damn something because you are a creator and you damn this, I suck, I'm fat, I'm ugly, I'm black, I'm short, I'm white, I'm tall, I'm red, I'm green, I'm blue, I'm Republican, I'm a Democrat, I'm gonna support Trump, I'm gonna support Obama, I'm a, like, it's a lot. It's a lot, right? So, you know, there's so many things that it takes to be responsible and people to think about, and you just can't say certain things, not because people are sensitive, but because you put a certain vibration in the air that creates disharmony. Then of what value are you? Because if the entire solar system is running in a harmonic harmonic and harmony, I don't know. If the whole world is traveling in harmony, and then here's something that you put out in the universe that creates a ripple, provided, obviously, there is thoughts beyond being happy or creating a happy environment, you know. So at any rate, it's going to get deep, and there's going to be reasons to question what you feel, but that doesn't mean you don't take the journey, because when you get blocked, what do? You dig in deeper and you get more creative and you become greater and you overcome, like Rocky, right? The purpose of these underdog movies, right? The guy's getting his ass kicked, but he rises. I used to love that life. I used to love that life, man. I was all in that shit. Rudy, man, Rudy, that was my shit. Dead Poet Society, all that, right? And it really helped, because that's the person who I was, or either I developed or attached to that. A part of my soul craved that and maybe needed to see that. So it's amazing how the vibrations of certain things allow us to rise. So if you could find all the right things at the right time to keep yourself vibrationally level, then wow, you attract and you're off, right? It's just like Tetris or Rubik's Cube, just find Find the fucking puzzle to keep your shit straight. It may be it may be being a Republican. Doesn't matter. It may be being a Democrat, right? It may be whatever you decide, but do not hurt others, right? There is a rule that you can't take life and you can't cause harm, right? You can work your own shit out. That's what you can do. You can work your own shit out, but you cannot keep fucking harming and hurting other humans. It is tactfully, because we have to be tactful in our actions, but it is not appropriate to deface God's children the way it has been done. And it is important that for those individuals that have the desire to love more or to develop more or see something within themselves that they want to explore, you have to get on the path of meditation to get yourself unlocked, right? It all starts with meditation and learning to love yourself, right? Which is kind of one and the same. It gets to be scary sometimes, but when you go down that that road, you you have to follow your conductor and fear no danger, right? This is why I personally feel like being a Mason has or is, because Masonry is, for those that are Masons and for those that will become Masons, it is something that I believe we all will agree upon, that it's in the blood. It's in the blood. So what is a bloodline, right? What is a bloodline? You don't know. The bloodline is very insidious. Never mind the outer garment, right? But the blood, you can't see the blood on what color vessel it travels in. Red, yellow, white, black, right? So being a Mason for me um, allows me to have this certain reliance upon other humans that I was cautious or careful to give because of some experiences in my younger life. Didn't want no trust, right? And so it has really helped shape me, right? It has really allowed me to find comfort again in my life and myself. So um, I can't even tell you when I became a Mason. It felt that it felt that amazing, and no matter what had happened, no matter what I heard, being in that moment of degree work, being in that moment of being embraced and feeling your body consumed by the wisdom, the tradition, the camaraderie, the ascension that you go through spiritually is mind shattering, but in a good way. Because once that mind is shattered and you have become upright, now you're able to learn and to see and to have the trust of the crew behind you, but more importantly, the great architect to seal you and protect you. So it's a very cool thing to be a Mason. It is like, that is how my soul feels about being a Mason. It is the one thing. There's several things that I wanted like really, really bad, right? And one of them was to be a Mason. And it has been worth every step. I have just been blessed by it all. So anyway, that's a tangent. But life is good. So get your mantra, get that ready, and we're probably just gonna start running it based on inspiration. So, if they're going to be as long as this video here is, which I don't know how long this fucking thing is, uh, might be longer, might be shorter, whatever. It's that type of conversation that they're lifelong questions, right? Like these are questions that we will ponder like our lifetime, right? There's no know-it-all here because everyone has their own individual experience. I may know something that works for my life, and I can probably imply it, or maybe we can talk about some strategy or something to correlate it. But the key that makes my vibrations harmonious isn't necessarily in every instance the same one that makes yours harmonious, right? There's obviously fine tuning, but because the experience is not perceived the same way, it would be very hard to convey what you need to learn and apply. Whereas the trial and error method, or the up and down, or the good experience, bad experience, good experience, bad experience scenario works. God is amazing. God is amazing. He does everything with love. The bad turns into good. The good must turn into the bad so that the good can resume. So there is no mistake. There is no problem. You got this. Be nice to yourself so you can start being nice to other people. Nice to the kids, nice to the neighbors, nice to the family. You know what I'm saying? And that shit will spread, right? But work on you first, and then that will be the thing. So, all right, I'm outing. Thank you. Peace to everybody. Thank you for Ginger. Rock. Rock is the best. All right, now I don't know, man. I can't say that though. Country, man. I love country. That's another segment. We'll talk about that later. Y'all take it easy. Peace.